Let's talk about the best NFTs that money can buy today. Let's print some tendies because at the beginning of this year in January, the market was exchanging roughly $17 million a month worth of NFTs. But fast forward to today, and the market has grown to be worth $27 billion, where we're exchanging roughly $2 billion a month. This has become a huge new asset class as a result of the crypto boom that we saw in 2021. In fact, even celebrities have started buying into it. People like Paris Hilton, for example, Jimmy Fallon, Steve Aoki, Tony Hawk, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, and the list just goes on and on. But finding the best of these is like finding a needle in a haystack because I believe 99% of NFTs today are gonna end up becoming worthless in just a few years. That other 1% though is gonna make people a lot of money. So in today's video, I wanna explore what some of the ones in that top 1% could look like by giving you my top 3 NFTs. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, what are the best ones to buy? But first, before we get into it, a quick disclaimer about the video. I was not paid to promote any of the NFTs inside this video. This video is for fun and educational purposes only. What you do with the information inside this video is completely up to you. I don't want you to buy any NFTs unless you're already a diversified investor who has a Roth IRA, a 401k, maybe an HSA, you own some stocks, and you own some real estate. If one of those words didn't make sense, this video is not for you. But now that you are here, let me tell you all about this crazy world of NFTs. Part of this video is sponsored by Public, so let's get right into it. Hi, my name is Andrei Jikh. Hope you're doing well. Come for the finance and stay for the best NFTs that money can buy today, according to a random guy on YouTube. So first, the budget is between $6 all the way to the moon. I'll give you some of the pros and cons about each one. I know that there are probably other ones out there that'll make you a lot more money. My list is based on a combination of safety and a chance for profitability based on ones that are already established because I think those are the safest ones. But before I share with you my list of my favorite 3, please watch this next part very carefully because this industry has a lot of downsides and risks that people are not talking about. All right, bad magic analogy time. So one possible downside to NFTs that people don't know about is that it could technically just disappear like that. Yeah, that's not bad. You're right, that's pretty bad. Here's a better analogy. Even though NFTs can just appear out of nowhere, they can also disappear. I'm really proud of that one, I made that one up. But here's what I mean. Even though we have full control of the digital asset itself because it lives on the blockchain, the actual picture, like the art part about the NFT, is usually hosted on a website somewhere. Which means if that website were ever to disappear for whatever reason, whether the owner stopped paying for it, or he just took it down, or maybe the server goes down, then technically the picture part would also disappear and all we'd be left with is a string of numbers and letters and an error page. And that's something that a lot of people are not taking into consideration about how risky NFTs can be. The second downside of NFTs is that they don't exist in a fair market. The question is, how do we know how valuable something truly is, especially in the world of art? Like, how do we know how valuable this card trick is if we don't know? Maybe it's enough for you to smash the like button, but not much else. The way that we can guess what the price might be is based on people buying and selling it, a history of its sales price. But here's what's really interesting. Anyone can just come along and create an NFT that they used a computer program to automatically generate one for $0. They can then use it to list it in the marketplace for, let's say, $1,000 or 0.25 ETH. Now, of course, at that point, no one's gonna bid on it because no one knows what it is. But as the creator, I could create a separate wallet and then fund that wallet $1,000, 0.25 ETH, and I can buy my own NFT. That establishes a sales history. Now, that once might not be enough to convince someone else to buy it at that point, but what's interesting is I could repeat this process an infinite amount of times. I could create as many wallets as I want and continuously buy back from myself. And all I'm really doing is just shuffling my own money around, but in reality, I'm not doing anything except for paying a bit of fees, right? That's gonna be a little expensive, but for the most part, I'm just shuffling my own money. This creates a precedent of sales. It tells people, wait a minute, people are buying and selling this thing, they're making money. I wanna do the same thing. That person becomes gullible and buys that NFT thinking that they're buying something valuable when in reality, they're worth nothing. So please stay safe, use some common sense, which I know is really hard to do, especially what we've learned this year, but try your best. So with all that out of the way, let's begin with the first crowd favorite NFT, which of course are the BAYCs, the BAYC, which are the HBICs of NFTs. Name that reference. Time's up, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. Flavor of love. I'm getting old. So the first one is the Bored Ape Yacht Club. This is arguably one of the most talked about NFTs in the entire world. People like Post Malone, Steph Curry, DJ Khaled, The Chainsmokers, Steve Aoki, Mark Cuban, Timbaland, Shaq, Logan Paul, Future. I mean, the list goes on of some of the celebrities that own one. And just recently, Jimmy Fallon bought one and posted about it on Twitter. A Bored Ape actually appeared on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine, and the team that created them partnered up with Adidas to make even more NFTs. But here's where it gets really interesting, because in 2011, a movie by the name Rise of the Planet of the Apes came out, and the filmmakers at that time had no idea on the impact they would have on investors 9 years later. Because the main character of that story, an ape by the name Caesar, said something profound, one line that would become the foundation of meme investing. And here's what he said. He said, "Apes together strong." About 10 years later, two guys by the name of Gargamel and Goner saw that the world of NFTs was missing something deeper. It was missing a deeper meaning. So to bring everyone together, they created these Bored Apes as an homage to the meme investing community, which saw investors ape in to stocks like GameStop and AMC. That's the story of the Bored Apes, but it goes way deeper. Now there are 10,000 Bored Apes in existence, there will never be more, and they're based on the Ethereum blockchain, which of course was created by Vitalik Buterin, as opposed to Italic Buterin? Huh? Where are my font nerds at? Back me up on this. Get this though, the cheapest Bored Ape you can buy today has a floor price of about 52 ETH, which is worth roughly $200,000 depending on what Ethereum's doing that day. But it can get as expensive as millions of dollars, like this Bored Ape number 8817, which sold for 819 Ethereum, worth roughly $3.4 million. The question is, how are they that expensive? Before I answer that question, remember how I said you should probably have some adulting investments first? That's why today's sponsor is Public.com. It's an investment platform where you can buy stocks, funds, and crypto. There are no account minimums to get started and no commission fees on standard stock trades. You can also buy fractional shares. But what makes Public different is the unique community experience they bring to investing, because you can share your ideas with other members and get valuable insights from other notable investors. I really like the social aspect of the app because you can also find me on there in case you're curious to see what trends I'm following. They also have in-app explanations, which means if you're not sure about what something means, you can click on the keyword and it'll show you its definition, which means you can go from smooth brain to wrinkled brain ape because it's beginner friendly. But my favorite part about Public is that they put their investors first because they don't accept payment for order flow, which means they don't sell our trades to market makers. Unlike other investing apps, they route our trades directly. If you click the link in the description below the video, you can get a free stock worth between $3 to $300 when you deposit some money. Thank you, Public, for sponsoring this part of the video. Let's get back to the apes. The reason I chose Bored Apes as one of my top 3 is not because the price is crazy or because it's really impressive, but because of what it means to own one. This is the blueprint to the success of other projects that we should pay attention to, but also because it's something we can do to boost the value of our own investments. And here's a perfect example. People that own an ape will come together in places like California, the UK, Hong Kong, New York, where there was an actual party with a real yacht. Not like an NFT yacht, but like an actual yacht with appearances from people like Chris Rock, Aziz Ansari, Questlove, which is crazy because the feeling of wanting to belong to a special, exclusive social club is real. Even if it seems silly, human beings always want to belong to something, especially if that something is bigger than ourselves. It's also the reason why stocks like GameStop have done so well this year. So never underestimate the power of story and community. So here are just some other interesting parts about Bored Apes. Each ape has different characteristics that give them a unique look and rarity, and no two are the same. One of the properties, for example, is stuff like the background color, the clothes they might have on, the eyes they have, which might have laser beams shooting out of their freaking heads. Name that reference, Austin Powers, aw thank you. Other things include things like the fur they have, the hat they might have on, the mouth, different kinds of properties. One of the things that is extremely sought after, for example, is the gold fur, which represents less than 1% of the 10,000 apes, which is like 46 of them, and it looks really cool, so people pay a lot of money for it. Another property that people want a lot are laser beams shooting out of the eyes, which again is sub 1%, and anything less than 1% is very desirable. So if you combine different rare properties together, you get apes that can sell for millions of dollars. Now, personally, I don't have an ape, I can't afford one, but if I did, I would have this one. Gold fur plus a Soviet Union hat perfectly represents me because I was born in Russia during the Soviet Union time because I'm old. So naturally the question is, if these originally sold for $200 and now they're reselling for millions, how are we ever gonna be able to afford one? And the answer is, maybe we never will, unless they introduce fractionalized NFTs, which are starting to become a thing where someone could take their NFT, they can divide it and split it up into hundreds, if not thousands of pixels for people to invest into at a much lower price. Kind of like fractionalized shares in the stock market. But the downside is that you probably won't get access to any of the social perks I talked about in the same way that you don't get voting rights for owning a fractionalized share of a company. So I hope that makes sense. Mostly, the biggest risk is fighting against artificial inflation of people bidding up their own NFT, which I think happens all the time everywhere. I just don't know how often it happens. But also the opposite could happen and someone could sell you their Bored Ape for $3,000 instead of $300,000, like someone just recently did because they had a late night and they forgot to add a few zeros. So that could also happen. But anyway, let's talk about my second favorite NFT project, which is a lot more affordable. My second favorite NFT project, of course, is something I'm very biased about because I have 79 NFTs here, and that of course is the VV platform. Now, I've spent about $30,000 here, which I know sounds crazy. Like, why would anyone spend $30,000 on pictures? But 2 of the collectibles I've bought on this platform could now pay for everything I've spent and then some. So picture the physical collectibles we used to collect as kids, but turned into digital NFTs. What Ecomi's done is they've bought licenses from brands like Disney, Marvel, Pixar, Cartoon Network, James Bond, so many other things that we used to collect and turned them into premium digital collectibles. Now the retail price for them is $6.99, which is a price I can get behind. They're also in the process of migrating toward Immutable X, which means we'll finally be able to view our NFTs on the blockchain itself, which also means hopefully we'll be able to sell them on platforms like OpenSea. The more interoperability, the more volume, the higher the price could go. This is honestly one of my favorite NFT projects just because of how easy it is to use and how significant these characters are. For example, my Spider-Man right here, which retailed for $400, I bought for $12,000, which sounds insane. But fast forward to today, and the floor price is sitting at roughly $26,500, which is pretty significant. And I think by next year, sometime early next year, this will be an easy $50,000. Of course, it is risky just like anything else, and I can't just give you the good without giving you some of the bad and some of the downsides. Like for example, we don't own the IP. In other words, it's the companies that are licensing, the licensors, that own the rights to these NFTs, which means technically, if they decided to pull out of the project, all we'd be left holding is a string of letters and numbers, which aren't very valuable, right? Because we don't have the actual images behind the code. Now, the second downside is that we can't really get in at retail price because they sell out in less than a second. But if you can get in at retail price, then a lot of them will make you money. If you're interested in learning more, like some of the tips and tricks of how you can buy and increase your chances of owning one, which ones are good, which ones are not so good, you can join the Magic Club right here. You don't have to, it's just a cool community where I learn every single day something new, there's giveaways, and it's just awesome. Again, it's totally optional, and if you want me to make a video about how much money I've made with these NFTs, let me know down in the comments below. But But having said that, now let's talk about my third favorite NFT project. And the third project is arguably what inspired the whole NFT movement and what started all of it at the beginning, which of course are the CryptoPunks. Now technically it is not the first NFT project that people worked on, but it is the first to become so popular. And CryptoPunks were originally inspired from the 1970s punk scene in London, which depicts these guys as rugged misfits and troublemakers and rebels. The punks, 24 pixels wide by 24 pixels tall, it's essentially a blocky image of a character of which there are only 10,000 of, and there will never be more. Now get this, when these guys were created, they were given out for free. I didn't actually get one, and even if you had told me about them way back then, I still probably wouldn't have got one because I'm no visionary and I probably wouldn't have understood the concept. But what's interesting is that in 2017, someone bought this CryptoPunk, number 3100, this little alien, for 8 Ethereum, worth $2,000, which at the time was insane. Why would anyone spend literally thousands of dollars on a picture on their computer? Didn't make any sense. Fast forward to March 2021, and that same CryptoPunk number 3100 resold for 4,200 Ethereum, worth $7.58 million. The cheapest one that you can buy right now is about 62 Ethereum, or about $250,000. That's it? I got that. I'll take 3. Now here's a really interesting story about the power of influence, because back in early 2020, Gary Vee, the successful entrepreneur, got together a bunch of people on a call, about 30 billionaires and social media influencers, and he told them to buy CryptoPunks. They listened to him and they bought in. People like Mr. Beast, for example, ended up with at least 8 CryptoPunks, some of which he said he was able to flip for 20 to 30 times his initial investment. And that makes me sad because I wasn't invited to that call. But the point is that market influence can happen across all NFTs at any given time, so that's something to take into consideration. As always, don't forget to have a wonderful day, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you back here on Monday and Friday, sometimes a Wednesday. I'd love to hear your thoughts about your favorite NFT project. Love you, I'll see you soon, bye-bye.